I spent 3 months in Sri Lanka traveling all around the country on motorbike, and I truly believe that it was some of the best months of my entire life. Just the amount of freedom that I felt, the landscapes, the scenery, the people, the food, it was truly just magical. Here are all the cities that I went to and visited, and I'm putting them in order from my favorite to least favorite, and we can talk about all of them. I'm not gonna sit here and lie, the South is supreme, and I definitely recommend visiting during the peak season for the South so you're not stuck in the rain, so you can really truly immerse yourself in the beautiful beaches, the nightlife, everything that the south coast of Sri Lanka has to offer. The beaches there are just truly unmatched to anywhere else that I went to in Sri Lanka. I know that in Sri Lanka itself there is a lot of discourse regarding the whole beach boy culture. I personally love them. They're great people. They were so open-minded, so accepting, and so chill. They taught me how to surf, they taught me how to scuba dive, and for that I'm always grateful to them. I will say that coming from India to Sri Lanka, I struggled a bit with the food at first because most places have like fried rice, noodles, kotu, or rice and curry, and I just felt like that wasn't enough options compared to like the vast cuisine that India has. But I will say that rice and curry, Sri Lankan rice and curry, I think is some of the best in the world. I will never get sick of that. I will never get tired of eating that. And rice and curry itself can be made so differently. Everyone has their own twist on it. It's a very diverse dish, and it's just amazing. And just the whole culture of like eating with your hands, I just loved eating with my hands. It just makes sense to me, and I loved being able to eat with the locals, like how they're eating as well. And I keep reiterating that Sri Lanka is a magical place, and I truly believe that there is some magic in the land there, because at least for me, I felt like whatever I was thinking or whatever I was wanted just came true. For example, I remember when I first arrived to the country, I was like, wow, this country is meant to be explored on like motorbike or with your own vehicle. Like, it's meant to be explored on your own terms because it's so beautiful, and just being able to stop whenever you want and take in the scenery and take in the views, or when you're driving down the road and there's just an elephant in the middle of the road, like that is a truly amazing experience. Literally, I remember a couple days after being like, I wish I knew how to ride a bike so I could just rent a bike and drive around here. A couple days after thinking that, I met a local guy there in Mirissa, and we just connected, and he offered to drive me all around Sri Lanka, and him and I together, we drove all around the country, over 2,000 kilometers together. I have all the vlogs on my YouTube if you're interested in watching our adventure. And yeah, it was a little rocky, but at the end of the day, we were strangers, and then we went on this whole road trip literally the day after we met. So obviously it's not going to be smooth, and we're still in touch, even though it was kind of a bad ending. Still have such amazing moments and memories with him. I'm also very grateful to him because he did teach me how to ride a scooter. My first time ever riding a scooter was with him, with his guidance. He just made me feel a lot more like confident maneuvering the country, and I'm very grateful to have had him because he made my experience really special. Another example of some magic that happened in Sri Lanka, I remember thinking, oh, I wish I could like go scuba diving, get my scuba diving certification. I had never gone scuba diving before, and literally the next day I met a guy, and he was a scuba diver master. He offered to like teach me and like to take my course with him and everything. Who's such an amazing teacher, such an amazing instructor. Got my certification with him in Trincomalee, and it was amazing. And yes, you know, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There is sexual harassment, which a lot of women that I encountered there, you know, mentioned.
Huh? You just want to go to
No,
America.
seriously. I marry you and I want the children with you. That's it. Seriously, I'm asking seriously. Why you are laughing? I'm asking seriously, why you are laughing? Huh? Why you are laughing?
Because.
And
But
even though I did experience some sexual harassment and like just a lot of catcalling in Trincomalee, I never felt unsafe, and I never felt like it never really bothered me too much, if I'm perfectly honest about it. I overall think Sri Lanka is such a safe country. I think Sri Lanka is so safe. I always felt safe there. I always felt like I could rely on the kindness of strangers there. I always felt like if I needed anything at all, I could just ask someone and they would go out of their way to help me, and I think that's really special. Some places that Bozzy and I did not feel comfortable in is one, Arugam Bay. I didn't really feel comfortable in Arugam Bay, and he didn't really feel comfortable in Arugam Bay because of how the locals there were looking at me and treating me. I think also he is Sinhala, so that kind of creates tension. I know there's still kind of like tension between Sinhalese and Tamil people, and I don't really want to get involved in that because it really has nothing to do with me. He just did not feel comfortable either. And we were hesitant about going to Trincomalee because we thought it would be a similar experience in Trincomalee as well, but it was just not the case at all. I think Trincomalee is one of my favorite cities in the entire world. I adore Trincomalee. The people there are so kind, so nice. I love the Hindu temples there. I love the culture there. I love the beaches. The beaches are beautiful, and it's almost like a pool because there's like no waves and you can just like truly relax at the beach. The sand is beautiful. Everything is beautiful. I got like a hotel room literally like 100 meters from the beach, like right across from the beach for like $10 a night, and it was a beautiful room with like a huge balcony overlooking the beach. It was truly amazing. I love Trincomalee, and if I go back to Sri Lanka, I will definitely go to Trincomalee. That's the one thing. If you do go to Sri Lanka during off season and you're not interested in surfing, like surfing is not a priority for you, then I would definitely recommend Trincomalee. If you're really into surfing, then of course you have to go to Arugam Bay, but I just personally did not really enjoy the vibe in Arugam Bay much at all. That's just my experience and my personal opinion. I prefer pretty much everywhere else in Sri Lanka over Arugam Bay, except for Pinawala. I went there because I met a girl who recommended it to me to see the elephants, and it is just a sad, sad place. The elephants clearly don't want to be there. It's not ethical. It's just sad. Everyone in the town isn't happy. The people aren't as joyful as in other parts of Sri Lanka. Not that they owe happiness. You don't owe anyone happiness, but these are just my observations and what I noticed while I was there. The elephants just look really sad and miserable. They're not nice. The people, it's just not a nice place. We only stayed one night and we regretted going at all. The place that we checked into, they weren't like really hospitable, and we didn't really feel comfortable there, and it was like a little uncomfortable. Both of us like being there, we just did not feel comfortable at all. So I do not recommend Pinawala. I will 100% say, and Bozzy will agree with me on this, that Pinawala was the worst place that we went to in Sri Lanka, and probably one of the only places I would not return to. I would give Arugam Bay another chance, but I would not give Pinawala another chance. I just think it's a sad, sad place, and I think the elephants should be free there, or there should be more ethical conservation of them. I really enjoyed Ella. I think Ella is beautiful. It's just a little pricey. Prices in Ella seemed really outrageous to me, like almost compared to like New York prices, to be honest, which in a small island is just absolutely absurd. Like they went crazy with the prices in Ella, so that's one reason why I just did not want to stay in Ella long. I just felt like everything was so overpriced there. It was truly insane. But the nature is beautiful. Driving around Ella on a bike was amazing. We have this video that we posted on TikTok. I'll post it here. That kind of went viral, got over 200,000 views, and it really just showcases the beauty of Ella.
Só porradão no tigre, só porradão no tigre, só porradão no tigre. Saca 50k e fui curtir na vitrine. Saca 50k e fui curtir na vitrine. Traz os combos de plaquinha, poucas presença VIP, coroa chamando avisar.
Kandy also is one of my favorite cities in the entire world. The way it's such a big, like, cosmopolitan city, yet is so immersed in the nature and still has trees and beautiful scenery everywhere you look. Kandy was absolutely amazing. One of my favorite cities. I just wish there was more of a nightlife in Kandy, and it truly would have been perfect. I probably would be open to maybe living there for some time, but everything closes really early. There doesn't really seem much to do at night, and that is like a bit boring, you know. I think it's a bit boring, or maybe like Bozzy and I just aren't in the scene, so we didn't know where to go, what places to go to. But Kandy was amazing. The place that we stayed in Kandy, the owners were so hospitable, so so nice. I love Kandy. I adore Kandy. And a lot of tourists say, oh, just spend 1 or 2 days in Kandy. Like, no, like we spent like almost a week in Kandy, I think. Like we just felt so comfortable, so relaxed there. We found such great, amazing, affordable food. There's so many temples. There's so much beautiful nature. I love Kandy. I also really, really love Sigiriya. Again, just the people there are amazing, good food. The village is so clean. People take such pride in their village and take such good care of it. Beautiful nature, again, close to a lot of temples. You have to do like the Lion's Rock. It is pricey, of course, but I think it's worth it. It just kind of bothers me that it's like all this money that, you know, the government is making off tourists, charging like what? It was like $20 or $30 to go to Lion's Rock. That's a lot of money, and there's so many tourists there. So it's like the government is like raking in, and it's like, what are they doing with that money? Are they like benefiting the local people's lives? Like, I'd rather give that money to people who actually like went out of their way to like be hospitable and welcome me. Whereas like the government is truly trying to squeeze every penny out of tourists, and I just don't want the government to be squeezing money out of tourists to just fill their own pockets. That's the only thing I have to say about that. We also went to Anuradhapura. I really liked Anuradhapura, the temples there. We went to this one like Buddha temple, which was one of the best temples I've gone to in my entire life. And I spent 3 months in India. And India has some amazing temples, but the temples in Anuradhapura were just truly magical. And again, I really liked the people there. It was a vibe. Like, yeah, they were more conservative and like less used to seeing tourists, and I kind of like that. I vibed with them. The place that we stayed at was also really affordable. The people were also really hospitable. I have nothing negative to say about Anuradhapura. It was really nice to see a more conservative town in Sri Lanka. Now, Polonnaruwa, I don't think I gave it a fair chance. By the time we got there, we were truly, truly exhausted, and I don't think I gave it a fair chance, so I don't feel comfortable really saying my opinions on it. We just stayed there for a night. We kind of just passed through the town, but I also want the night that we spent there, it didn't really fill me with a desire to explore further the town or to really like check it out. It just kind of had like a sad, depressing vibe to it. So I was kind of okay with just passing by it and just spending one night there and just going on to the next. We went from Polonnaruwa to Rugen Bay. I'm actually going to put our entire route on the motorcycle here so you guys can see it all and you can see everything that we did. After Polonnaruwa, we went to Rugen Bay, and after Rugen Bay, we went to Bundala. And Bundala is, I think, one of my favorite places. Like Kandy, Bundala, and Trincomalee, and all of the south, like Mirissa, Weligama. Those were really, truly like the highlights. Of course, like Ella, Sigiriya, like, amazing. But Bundala, I think it was because Bazi, he had friends that he grew up with, that he knew for many years, that he felt really, really comfortable with. And I don't know if that is why it made it so magical to me, but it is such a magical place. Just like the nature there, you're so immersed in the nature. Like, it's like we're literally like living in a national park. The place that we stayed at was like right across the view. Like, you can see elephants like truly right across from like our patio. It was amazing. I loved it. I loved it. They like set up a whole like nighttime barbecue for me right in the middle of like the jungle. Like, I just felt so free there, so like so myself. And it's like there's so much like accessible, like, yeah, I don't want to say it because I know like Sri Lanka is very, very like strict on that, but it's very accessible there, very easy to find, very affordable, good quality. And I just loved Bundala. I had such a good time in Bundala. And then we went to Mimude. Mimude, it was a really great experience. I will say that Mimude is more like an experience. The driving up there, the roads, the views from the mountains were truly some of the most spectacular views that I have seen in my entire life. In my entire life, truly, the views there were just breathtaking. And the people there were also very kind, very hospitable, very welcoming. However, there is an issue with accommodation there. It was very hard to look up and book accommodation prior online. I did a ton of research I was trying to find. I couldn't really find anything. Once you're there, you have very little to no phone service at all. So it's like we were literally driving, looking at the billboards, taking down the numbers, and then calling them. I had no service. Bazzi has a local Sri Lankan number, so he was able to call them. If you don't have a local number, you probably won't have service, so just beware of that. So we were literally just driving, getting numbers from billboards, and he called this one guy. He sounded really nice on the phone, said he had like room, he would give us dinner. It was like a little expensive. I forgot how much it was. I have a haul video of my experience in Mimude. I felt like the accommodation was so dingy. I can't even lie. It was like a shack. And for the price that he was trying to sell us, I just felt like it was so overpriced. I did not feel comfortable. And it wasn't like that I'm like luxurious, you know, like I am so down to rough it. I don't need much. I don't need much. Truly, I don't need much. I love to do camping. I love to just like save money, honestly. So it's like, but we weren't saving money. That's the thing. We weren't saving money. And also my main problem wasn't exactly the shack or like the accommodation itself. It was more so like it wasn't clean. And it's like you can live in like a little like shitty place, but as long as it's clean, like I'll be comfortable. As long as I have a bed, a bathroom, and it's somewhat clean. I'm not expecting sparkling clean, but there's not cobwebs and bugs everywhere. You know, like I can do it, but it just didn't feel comfortable, honestly, and Bazzi agreed with me. So we went up the block, we found another place, and that guy was so nice. He literally made us rice and curry at like 9, 10 at night and just took such good care of us. And like once we're checking in, he mopped and cleaned the entire room and really put in effort. So I would just say Mimude is definitely worth a visit. The lake, or was it river, that we visited was so amazing. Swimming in that water just felt like so healing, like literally a spiritual experience. So I do think Mimude is worth a visit, but like just be aware that accommodation is probably going to be a little difficult there. So I think I covered everything that I had to say about Sri Lanka, and I want to end the video with saying that I am a trans woman. Obviously, I think we all have picked up on that by now. And not once did I feel like it was a thing. Not once did I feel like it was an issue. Not once did I feel like anyone judged me for my transness. Not once did I feel like anyone cared that I was trans. Not once did I feel like people were like ill. Like maybe the most that I felt uncomfortable in regards to my transness was Arugam Bay, and I think that's why Bazzi and I just did not like it there. But other than Arugam Bay, I don't think not once did I feel like I didn't even have to think about being trans. Like I could just forget about my transness, and that is truly so special. And I'm so grateful and appreciative to the Sri Lankan people to just see me as I am, to just accept me as I am, to not judge me, to not like look at me weird, and to just like take me as I am, which at first glance everyone just feel like treated me as a woman, as any other Western foreign woman. And I am so grateful and appreciative to the people of Sri Lanka for just welcoming me into such a beautiful country, supporting me so fully throughout my journey in that country, and just being such amazing, kind people. So I think I covered everything that I have to say. And I also want to say, on one last note, Sri Lanka deserves more tourists. Visit Sri Lanka. Give the locals your money because they deserve it. Stay at homestays. Go to local restaurants. Do not support these big chains. Support your local people in Sri Lanka because they are amazing people and they deserve your money, truly. They deserve the tourism. They deserve everything. They're such amazing people. They take such good pride in their land. They take care of their land. And they're so welcoming and hospitable, and I really cannot say enough about how amazing of a country Sri Lanka is. And I know that my vlogs perhaps showed a more negative side of myself and of my experience of the country, but I had been traveling for around 6 months at that point. I was dealing with a man I literally had just met, and maneuvering that relationship was very like complicated and difficult. So I apologize if my vlogs are not the most positive or did not show the country in the most positive light, but this is truly how I feel. Especially now, after having traveled to other countries like Korea, Japan, I am now in Philippines, and I can truly say that like, I want to be back in Sri Lanka so bad. I just love Sri Lanka, and I just felt so comfortable there. So thank you guys so much for watching my video, and yeah, go visit Sri Lanka.